All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. We very much appreciate it. My name is Nick Redden. I'm Vice President Innovation Technology for ATC. And if you're not familiar with the whole of our company, there are different practices and things that we offer. But at ATC, our goal is simple. We want to help our customers disrupt the status quo. Technology is a competitive advantage when properly applied and executed. Our goal is to do that for our customers and give them a winning edge against their competitors. Our customers have learned disruption and growth is easier with the right partner. And of course, we would love to be that partner. Some of the areas that we operate in, just to help you get a bigger picture of who we are and what we do. Of course, you are probably very aware of our training, and training is a big cornerstone of our company and of our practices. One of the fastest growing parts of that, I think because of the pandemic and everything that we've been dealing with, has been our private classes, which have grown tremendously. So if you or your company are interested in having a private class and private training done, we would love to be in consideration for that. We would love to do that for you. But some of the solutions that we have a business solution side of the house where we put together an integrated solutions approach, taking everything from cloud transformation, robotic process automation, blockchain development, chatbots, custom application development, building platforms. We have a lot of customers right now, startups and others, where we're building their platforms or we're modernizing their technology. One of the things that the pandemic has showed a lot of companies was they really need to get their legacy applications brought into modern technology and then hosted in the cloud and maybe built cloud native or maybe with a hybrid approach to it. And then we also do testing, software quality for companies as well. So if you have a need there, we would love to chat with you more about that. We would love to help you with any of those or even brainstorm with you about things that you might be trying to accomplish that we could bring together and just kind of help you maybe understand a little better. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Parag Bakre. Parag is an SBC, but he's also the head of our global delivery for our company. So we have multiple delivery sections throughout the world while we are headquartered here where I'm currently sitting in Iowa. But Parag is head of our global delivery, make sure that everything that's supposed to get done gets done. So Parag, I will hand it over to you and I'll stop the video so I don't kill all of our bandwidth.
Thank you, Nick. Good afternoon again. This is Parag. I'm head of IT delivery for ATC. And I'm also SPC. So yeah, let's go through the questions. So the first.
Right. Oh, sorry. All right. So the first one I see up there is, I'm confused about how uncommitted objectives help improve the predictability of delivering business value.
So I'm assuming this question is related to the objectives that are outlined during the PI planning meeting. And there are objectives to which the team is committed to, and there are objectives where the team is not committed to, but those are still outlined over there. So in terms of predictability, it's not only about what you are going to do, but it is also about being transparent about things that you might not be able to do, right? So that is how it will help. The second thing is like, if the teams have got capacity, right? So if they committed to certain work, and they feel that they have capacity available after completing the work they committed to, they can always pick up those uncommitted objectives and work on those. So it just brings in a lot of transparency, and I think that transparency helps predict what is going to come out. I hope I answered that question though.
Also, so there's two ways we can have you submit questions as well, just to keep you aware. Please feel free to continue to submit them through the Q&A. But if you'd like to ask your question, if there's more detail, you can raise your hand and I can unmute you, and then you'll be able to ask your question directly to Parag. So we try to offer both options there for everybody. But we do keep everybody muted, just so you know, everyone is automatically muted. That way we don't get any of the background noise or things that sometimes hamper these types of meetings. So next question, Parag, it says, I could not pass the SSM on the first attempt. Who should I reach out to get help?
Well, sorry to hear that. However, there are two ways in which you can re-attempt the exam. One is like from the community platform where you take the test. If you click on that button again, it will ask you to make a payment depending on the course for which you want to retake the exam. So you can just pay the fee using credit card or whatever payment option Scaled Agile is accepting and attempt the exam again. If you are having issues with that process, you can reach out to Scaled Agile by sending an email to support@scaledagile.com, and they should be able to assist you resolve the issue.
And Parag, do you want to talk about premium support? Because maybe sometimes that helps folks as well.
Yeah, sure. So one of the support that we offer for anybody who is planning to take the SAFE certification, we do have a premium support option there. And as a part of premium support, what we do is like we help you answer all the questions that you have got related to preparing for the exam, and also make sure that we share some material with you. Like if you want to know more about certain topics and you are not able to find the material, we will be able to help you find the material or share whatever material we have got with you, right? So that you are able to pass your exam upfront and in your first attempt. So we do have that option available. So feel free to use the option. If you want to, find out more about the option, please talk to the contact that was working with you from ATC, or just send an email to support@american-technology.net, and one of our representatives will get in touch with you.
All right, so we do have a question, Parag. Does quality mean to do more testing or early testing?
Well, testing is part of quality, but testing is not equal to quality, right? Quality is much more broader than just doing testing. And so when we talk about built-in quality, it's basically quality of the flow, quality of the architecture, quality of the coding that is being done, right? So code quality. You do have testing, which is part of it, and then there is continuous monitoring that happens after you go to prod. So you make sure that things are working, they're up and running, and if something goes down, there is somebody to fix those things. So quality is more of end to end, start to end. So everything that is done to deliver the product and everything that is done after the product is delivered, to ensure that the customer has got quality experience with your product.
Excellent. Here's another question. We do software test automation, but not sure how to optimize it for our CI/CD process. Can you guys help us with setting up our test automation process for CI/CD?
Sure. I mean, this is something that we do on all of our internal products, as well as we help our customer do that. That's a good question. And a lot of companies think that, just doing a test automation is going to help them establish their CI/CD pipeline. However, there are multiple things that need to be done. One is like, the tool and technology choice that is made in terms of doing that automation. That is important. You need to make sure that whatever tools and technologies you are deciding to use, those can work in your CI/CD pipeline, right? So they are compatible, and they can be integrated in the CI/CD pipeline. The other important consideration over here, if you think about the continuous delivery pipeline, right, that you might have studied about in your SAFE training, that continuous delivery pipeline talks about continuous integration and continuous deployment. So that means that you should be able, so whatever code your team is creating, they should be able to integrate it continuously without any manual intervention. And once the code is integrated, it should be deployed automatically, right? So that entire process needs to be automated. And so from the test automation standpoint, anything that is going to cause some manual effort, or anything that is going to break the pipeline just because it is not configured properly, that needs to be addressed. So what we do from our side, we have got teams that are expert in terms of implementing this test automation practice end to end in this CI/CD pipeline, and we can always pair up with your team. So if you want to know more about it, if you want to have assessment done for your CI/CD pipeline from test automation perspective, feel free to get in touch with any of the representatives that you have worked with, or please send an email to support@american-technology.net email address, and we'll get in touch with you and we'll help you out with establishing test automation for your CI/CD pipeline.
Excellent. So we got a couple questions, both asking the same question, so you can knock these both out in one shot. What are charges for premium support for SAFE CASM exam? How many practice tests you provide with answers? And then the exact same question.
Sure. I think I'm assuming you are referring to CSM. I think rather you want to refer to SASM, I guess, Advanced Scrum Master training that you might have attended. And we have two options for the premium support. The first option is like a 2 week support where we are available to help you out for 2 weeks time frame, and it costs $299. And the other option is 4 week support, which costs $399. Yep,
Great.
those are the two options we have got.
Okay, and then I did put in there, folks, in the chat window. If you do want to get more information about that, you can email Dan, and you should see his information there in the chat window. I'm getting ready to go to the next question, Parag. Before I do that, though, I just want to remind everyone, if you do have a question, please feel free to type it into the Q&A window at the bottom of the screen. If it's a longer question or you think there might be a little bit of back and forth, feel free to raise your hand and I will unmute you, and then you can ask Parag directly. One more question that popped in, I think it's on the tail of the other one, was about practice tests, Parag.
I think I will need some more information about that question, but
I think they're wondering if we give practice tests or if we have that they can use that will help prepare them. That's my guess.
Sure. So practice test is one of the steps before you take the actual exam, and I would recommend taking that practice test at least 3 to 4 times, and not just take it, right? At least passing that practice test 3 to 4 times before you give the actual test. Now, as far as the questions in practice test are concerned, they are from the pool of questions that SAFE has got for the actual test as well, but it's just a subset of that, and percentage of those questions they change every time you take a test. So every time you take a practice test, you will see maybe 30 to 40% questions changing. Rest of the questions might still remain same, but it gives you good idea about how the actual test is going to be, and how does it feel from the timing perspective, right? So you can give you can take any number of times. As far as practice test is concerned, there is no limit on that, but my recommendation is at least take it 3 to 4 times before you give the actual test.
Is the test open book?
Well, the test is closed book. I don't think it's open book test, but it doesn't stop you from opening anything, right? So nobody's going to monitor what you're doing. The reason they call it as closed book test is basically two things there. One is like the questions are not very straightforward, right? Where you can just copy paste that question in your search and find the answer to it. So the question really require you to do the study. Make sure you study the concept, you understand it really well, and you should be able to answer it. So the questions are not difficult, but they are not like straightforward where you can just copy the question and paste it somewhere in the search and get the answer to it. The second reason it feels more like a closed book test is because the time that you get to answer each question, it's somewhere around like you just get couple of minutes, right? So you literally might not have time to search the answer in the book, because if you keep doing that, you might not be able to finish the test on time. But that doesn't stop you from, actually, if you open a book, nobody's there to monitor you. It's an online test.
Great. Next question is, what is the requirements for DevOps training, and is there a test afterwards for the certification?
Well, for DevOps, there is no requirement as such, as long as you have got experience working in the software space, whether doing development, testing, or just overlooking the activities, right? You might be leader of a software team. I think that should be good enough because that course covers all the concepts that are required to understand DevOps and how to operate in that particular environment. And yeah, there is a test. So if you take the Safe DevOps course, there is a test similar to any other course that you might have taken, and it's the same concept, right? You attend the 2 day training class. After that, you will get access to the course material, etc., all that stuff, and you have to complete those tasks on your Safe community platform. And after you complete the task, you will eventually go to the practice test. Again, I would recommend same thing, take the practice test multiple times, make sure you pass on that test multiple times, and then go for the actual test to get the certification.
Great. We have a question from Rajenda. I'm going to unmute her, unmute him so he can talk. Hold on 1 second here. Rajenda, you should be free to talk. You may still have to unmute yourself.
Yeah. Mike, that question is still pending about in premium support. Do you provide practice tests to us with the answers? Because on the website, the practice test, the answers are not there. Only questions are there. So if I take a premium support from you for this advanced Scrum Master course, for Safe Exile Advanced Scrum Master course, will you provide practice? How many practice tests will you provide with answers?
No, I think we cannot give you direct answers to the questions that are asked by Scaled Agile. That is against the license policy. But what
Okay.
we can help you do is basically if there are topics on which you need more study material, more information, we can help you find that information.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. What are the sites where one can take safe practice tests? And that's probably one we can email out afterwards, I'm assuming, Parag, you think?
No, so basically it's under the Safe Community platform. We cannot send the link, but where you downloaded your course material from, and you guys might have submitted your feedback. So if you scroll down in the same page, uh, you will find the option to take the practice test, and there is a launch button next to it. So once you click on that launch button, you should be able to take the test. So it's under your Safe Community platform. If you go to My Learning, in My Learning, uh, once you take the course will appear in the In Progress tab over there. So there is a tab called as In Progress under My Learning. And so if you scroll down in that tab, there is an option to take the practice test.
Perfect. Okay. Will there be more help in the premium support regarding questions?
So I didn't get that.
Will there be more help in the premium support regarding questions?
So let me try to understand that, right? So basically what you're saying is like if there is a question and you are not sure about the answer, would there be more help in premium support? So whatever topic that question is related to, we'll be able to get you more material for that particular topic.
Then 50 questions in 90 minutes, is that correct?
Depends on the course. So I think if you want more information for the specific course that you have taken, we can help you understand how many questions are going to be there for that particular course. And that information is also available on scaledagile.com website. So if you go to scaledagile.com website and select a course from the top menu over there, in that course, it will show you all the details about that particular course.
All right. And then is there study material because the book does not reflect exactly sorry, let me rephrase this. What exactly to study. And unfortunately, we do not have time to go over test questions.
Well, so the students workbook that you've got covers all the topics that are going to be there in the test, but the book will have only limited information, right? So if you want to really understand the topic in detail and get different perspectives about it, I think it requires some additional study. And so in order to do that study, again, all of that information is present on scaledagileframework.com website. So if you go to scaledagileframework.com website, you can see the full safe configuration diagram over there. And every single icon in that diagram is clickable, right? So let's say, for example, if you go there and you click on built-in quality, it will take you to the page where you will get more information about built-in quality, and there would be further links on which you can click. So there is additional information than what is there in the booklet, but it's related to the topic that is covered in the book. So the exam is only going to have questions that are related to the topics that are covered in the booklet, but the more details are available on the scaledagileframework.com website.
Okay. I don't know if the questions, there's just a statement about the questions being tricky and there's more material provided for those particular tricky questions, like multiple answers, but I think that's more of a statement.
Yeah, I mean those questions when you say those are tricky, let me clarify one more thing, right? So it's not like they try to play with you with respect to that question. What Scaled Agile want to make sure is like you're not just answering those questions by doing some search, right? They want to make sure that you really understood the concept well, and is you are able to answer that question based on your understanding of the concept. And that's why they ask that question in a way where they try to evaluate your understanding of that particular concept that is covered by the question.
Okay, and we'll move on to the next questions. I was trying to stick with all those because they were very similar. Oh wait, let me see here. Okay. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm scrolling through them real quick. What tools can be used for building quality into the product?
Well, that's a good question. And again, the tools are there to support your quality process. The tools are not going to help you build the quality, but they will help you ensure the quality is built into your process. So depending on which area you are focusing on, for example, you might want to focus on the quality of the flow. So you might need a ALM tool that help ensure that help you build the entire flow, right, for your process from start to end till the value is delivered to the customer. So there are tools that are available for that. One of the example of the ALM tool that support the entire safe process and that help you monitor the quality is Target Process. That is one of the tool. And we are partnered with Target Process. We can help your organization implement Target Process tool in your organization. So that is for the quality of the flow. Then there is code quality. Code quality, there are some tools, libraries that are available. Some of those are open source and some of those are proprietary tools and libraries that are available. And what they allow you to do is basically they allow you to assess the quality of the code as it is being developed, right? So what these tools do is like you can set up certain standards in these tools, and as the developer is typing the code, it evaluate that particular piece of code against those standards and give real-time feedback to the developer. From testing standpoint, there are automation tools that are available, and some automation tools require you to do some coding of automation test cases. Some of the other tools that are available, they help you do scan for security, etc., for performance of the application, and based on those scans, you can ask your development team to fix those issues that are identified. And then there are monitoring tools. So once your code goes to the production, there are tools that are available which help you monitor. So there are tools for different I would say stages in your software development process. And basically you need to implement those tools, integrate them with your CI/CD pipeline so that there is no manual intervention. The tools start working as part of your CI/CD process as you continuously integrate your code and continuously deploy your code to production environment. So these tools will start giving you idea about the quality of what is being deployed to the production real time. So yeah, if you have questions on that, if you want to have further discussions, get in touch with us. We can help you understand. So we can take a look at the process in your organization and help you understand how to optimize that process, which tools you can implement and how to integrate those tools to get the complete visibility of quality across the board.
Parag, there's also a question, and I'll just go back to this because it has to do with the training. It says, how do I get the practice test? I heard you talk about my learning, but I don't have a link that even takes me there. So what do you know the way offhand to navigate that, or do we need to follow up?
Well, can you can you unmute this
Uh,
person who has got a question? Because
yeah,
I do
hold
have
on.
a question in terms of if do you have access to Safe Community platform?
Ibanga, you should be able to speak.
All right, yeah. So I don't. When you say have access to safe community platform, how do I get it? Because the only thing I have is the what's it called, the safety. Hold on, I have the safety agile framework. That's the only skill agile framework. I have access to that one, but beyond that,
No. I think
yeah, I
if
don't.
you've already taken a class, you should have
Yes.
got like a welcome email from Scaled Agile to access the Safe Community platform. And if you've
Okay.
not got that email, who did you work from ATC side?
David, I think that's his name.
Maybe
Okay.
Dan. So I put Dan's email in the chat window. Hopefully you could see that. He can help get that resolved if you want to follow up with him, and he can take care of that for you to make sure you if you didn't get that email. If it got, I would also say check your spam because sometimes we know that those emails can end up in people's spam as well.
Oh, so Dan it is? Yeah, Dan.
Yeah, it should be in the chat window. It's Dan DAN at American-technology.net.
In the
Oh,
QA chat or in the chat
I'm
chat?
sorry. I just realized it did not go to everybody. That's my fault. Sorry. I'm gonna redo that right now. Sorry about
Okay.
that. There you go.
There you
Now
go.
everybody should see it. Sorry about that, folks, if you guys were wondering what I was talking about.
Yep. So ideally, you should get an email to sign up to the Scaled Agile community platform. And so everything related to your learning is on the Scaled Agile community platform, including your practice test and the actual test.
Okay. And that you say we will find under My Learning, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'll do that. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, Parag, the next question is about measuring quality. How do we measure quality effectively?
Sure. I think that question, I like that question specifically for two reasons. It ties back to two things, right? One is quality and the other thing is transparency. And in order to measure the quality, as I mentioned before as well, quality is not only about testing. Quality is about your quality of the flow, architecture quality, code quality, and then overall your product quality, right? So what you need to do is like identify a tool that will help you pull data from multiple sources and help you create dashboards basically at the end of day. And so what these dashboards do is like these dashboards will provide a real-time assessment on quality, and not just quality, it can provide you assessment on different parameters as well. But quality is one of those things. So what we recommend is, in terms of getting a good understanding of quality, the data that is required, right, that provides you that input, that data should not be, you don't need to process that data manually. There are tools that are available that can help you process that data real time, and can help you, create dashboard that can give you a real time status of the quality. So you can measure quality based on different metrics and different parameters. So there are two ways in which you can measure. One is your quality based on the status, right? So as of today, whatever is the status in different tools that are being used in your company, you pull the data and provide a status on that. The second way in which you can provide quality is by looking at the trends. So you look at the historic data and you try to build a trend, and those trends tell you where your organization stands with respect to quality. So again, if you have questions on how to implement it in your situation, because every organization is different, they use different tools. And I wish I could give you a generic answer saying, okay, this is a way you can do it, right? But I can give you a way forward in terms of how do you go about measuring the quality. Basically, if you can get in touch with us, we can help you come up with the inventory of different tools that are used in your development process, and help you understand how to pull data out of those tools and create a pictorial representation for your teams to understand where you stand with respect to quality. So all the technology organizations, they use some tools, whether those are like, integrated with each other or not, but we can help you pull data out of those tools and create the dashboard that gives you idea about the quality.
All right. Next question. And just as a reminder, folks, you can click on the Q&A button if you do have a question that you want to make sure that we cover. If it's a long question that you think may be like a one-part, two-part, three-part question, feel free to raise your hand and then I can unmute you and you'll be able to ask Parag directly. All right, next question is, we have existing testing process, but not sure how to transition the team to align. And what is the safe recommendation? In other words, let me rephrase it. So what are typical steps to make that change happen?
Sure. So one of the important thing that you need to do, which is also recommended by SAFe, is to do value stream mapping. And value stream mapping help you understand the flow of value in your organization, and the value from start to end, right? So the moment your customer demand for something till the time you actually deliver that value to your customer, that's your flow. So what you need to do is try to come up with all the possible value streams that exist in your organization, and start measuring those value streams, right? So you need to measure how fast something can be delivered to your customer. And once you have got a good understanding of that, the next step that we start doing is like look at the things that cause delay in that process and remove those delays, right? So from the quality standpoint, basically that's a quality of the flow. And what you need to make sure is like, your team start looking at those areas where those delays are happening and start removing those delays. Now, your current team might be skilled in terms of implementing those changes that are required, or they might need some learning. And where we can help with that particular process is like we have experts who have worked in this process day in day out. They have got expertise in a lot of different tools, and they've got expertise in terms of integrating these processes and removing those delays. So we can pair up with your team and help you understand how to remove those delays in your process, and how to integrate different tools and technologies that are being used right in your flow to make sure that there is less manual intervention. So the lesser the manual intervention is, the higher is going to be quality, right? Because there are going to be less human made mistakes, and we can help you do that integration. And so this transition, right? So if you're asking like how do I go about doing that transition, I think the first activity that needs to happen is to do value stream mapping, and then work with somebody who can provide you expertise in terms of identifying those delays in that value stream and removing those delays in that value stream. And your team can learn from those experts and then take it over, right? So the experts can come to your organization, help you establish the process, and then you can take over that process. Your team can take over that process from those experts.
Great. Okay, here. Next question. How can you ensure agile team alignment?
Can you repeat that question?
How can you ensure agile team alignment when they're going? I'm assuming when they're going to agile from like waterfall.
So basically, I'm assuming that you're talking about if I'm multiple agile teams, how do I align those teams, right?
Yes.
And so in the SAFe framework, if you guys have studied that, there is a concept of iterations. And so you have got like a bigger iteration, which is your PI, and then you have smaller iterations within that PI, right? So I think cadence and synchronizations are two concepts that you must have learned during your training. And basically you need to make sure that those ceremonies that are recommended in the framework, those ceremonies are followed. There is a common timeline that is established, right, in terms of when the iteration starts and the iteration end, and everybody follow that same timeline in order to align. So what happens is like you start understanding those integration points when your team start following cadence and start doing synchronization. And so that is how you align your teams, right? So that way you remove the dependency on teams not knowing like which team is going to deliver when, and then waiting for some team to deliver things that you are dependent on. So that way you can predict like when the delivery is going to happen for certain things, like because the dates are synchronized as well, and plan accordingly. And that is how you go about aligning your teams. So you follow simple same schedule, follow similar ceremonies across the teams.
And then going back to the question previously, there was a follow-up on, can you give specific examples of some of the tools and in what part they're used?
Sure. So for example, for code quality, there are tools like Istanbul, Puppeteer, etc., right, that can be used for automation purpose. So basically, when you talk about code quality, let's say, for example, you want to understand how much coverage the particular test suite is providing you, right? How much code coverage they are providing you. So Istanbul is one of the tools that help you understand what does the code coverage look like. It gives you percentage after you execute your test cases. When you talk about quality of the flow, right, basically, so there are tools like Target Process which help you understand how efficiently your process is working from start to end, right? It gives you velocity delays that are happening in your process. It help you understand how fast you are delivering features to production, etc., and that help you understand the quality of your flow. So is that what you're looking for, or you're looking for some other things as well? And then there are tools like ClickData, etc., that help you pull dashboard, that help you pull data from multiple tools. And based on those dashboards, you start understanding your process from start to end. So you get to see data for two things. One is like your current status as of today in different tools. And then you can also store the historic data and pull trends, etc., right, for business intelligence purpose. So there are tools like ClickData, Tableau is another tool. So there are plenty of tools related to dashboards, etc., that are available that can provide you visibility into quality. There are plenty of tools. So basically, I can give you some other examples, right? Jest is another tool. Selenium is another tool. So these are testing related tools. There are tools like Cucumber, etc., that help you do BDD, all that stuff. There are tools for security assessment, tools like Burp Suite, OWSP created open source tool, which is Zap. So those are the kind of tools that are out there.
All right. And then next question is, when two teams have different velocities, how do you ensure they're on the same stage during cadence and sync of a PI?
Well, that's a good question. And so basically what happens is like when the teams are committing to their PI objectives, basically the PI planning meeting, it's a big room meeting, right? So everybody's there. And depending on their velocity, they are going to commit to the work that they are going to achieve, right, within their team. So you don't mandate team to do certain amount of work. Rather, you let the team share what work they can achieve within that particular iteration. And so if a particular team is not able to pick up some work, there are two ways, like either some other team pick that work up, or you can actually push that work to the following iteration, right? Because you just don't have capacity. So everybody has got visibility, and so you have to plan the dependencies based on that, right? So let's say if team 2 is supposed to deliver something which has got a lower velocity, and if they are going to deliver something in sprint 2 of a PI, and let's say another team has got dependency on that, so basically they know that the team is going to deliver that in the second sprint of that particular PI, so they can plan for that in the third sprint or third iteration of that particular PI, right? To work to do the work that is dependent on, let's say, that team two's work, which is going at a low velocity. But depending on their velocity, they will let the other teams know when they are going to deliver certain work, and the other teams are going to plan based on that. That is the whole reason behind that PI planning meeting. You bring everybody together so that these things are understood and teams can plan accordingly for that entire PI.
And one of the tools Parag talked about that it has been effective nowadays, especially for the PI planning, and I'm tailing off that a little bit, Parag, is Target Process, which is one of the companies that we partner with and one of the tools that we help implement within companies so that you can do virtual PI planning through it as well. And it's been a really great tool, adopts very quickly into organizations as well. And again, if you want more interest or want to see a demo or see how that works, you can email Dan at american-technology.net. It's in the chat window. Next question is there any source where we can get to know the available trending tools in the market?
Sure, I think let us know what specific technologies you are working on, and we can help you find the information on those tools. Unfortunately, there is no one place where you go and see all the possible tools that are available, right? So that is again based on knowledge information. You can always do Google search and find the information, but if you want very specific information and want feedback on pros and cons of each of those tools, just let us know what technology stack you are using, and we can help you find the tools, or we can provide you with the websites that have got better information about the tools that are related to technologies that your organization is using. Again, I cannot give you a generic answer because there is a lot of variation in the industry. Like some companies are still using mainframes, if you believe it or not. Some companies are using Java, some companies are using Python, Node.js, React. There are a lot of different technologies, right? Some companies are on .NET, so they've got whole different set of technology that is out there. And so the tools are there to support specific technology. So I cannot give you a generic answer, but if you can share the information about what technology your company is using, I think we can help you find the information for you.
Absolutely. So again, feel free to email Dan, and he can kind of be the front end for any of those questions, and then we can get those answered and respond to you through that. Next question is, can development team be a pure Kanban team with dependencies to other agile teams, dev or system team within the same art?
Well, I mean, your team cannot be you cannot be siloed, right? So that is what I think. If you have attended leading safe training, you cannot be siloed by development team, testing team as such, right? Agile team is a one team that compromise of developers, testers, product owners, scrum master, right? Everybody. And so whether that team follow Kanban or they follow Scrum, it's not by the type of the skill that they are bringing to the team. That I would say concept is for the entire team, right? So if you are an agile team, if you are doing Kanban, now the art need to do Kanban, right? In the entire team, like the entire agile team need to do the Kanban if they want to use that. Otherwise, you won't be able to synchronize with each other, because one team will be doing iterations while the other team is just doing Kanban for the entire PI. So that's not going to work out really well. Again, if you have gone through your training, it talks highly about cadence and synchronization. And one of the things that it talks about is like your team should be aligned, right, in terms of how they deliver and the dates on which they are going to deliver. So we have seen in the past where there were a couple of teams that said within the art that said, hey, we are going to do Kanban, right? And then there were a couple of teams that said, hey, we are going to do Scrum. And we have seen those teams struggling a lot. They were able to deliver the work at the end of day, right? Like, but that didn't happen without a struggle. And so the process was not just lean, right? There was a lot of wastage of time that happened in that process. So I would highly recommend that, having a discussion across the entire art and having a good understanding of how the teams want to align, basically. And the more uniformity you bring, the better it is going to be for you in terms of making your processes lean. It really depends on whether or not organization is concerned about becoming lean organization, right? Some organization, they don't care, they just want to be a agile organization, they don't care about being lean. But there are organizations that do really care about being lean organization, and so that cadence and synchronization is all about being a lean organization.
Perfect. Next question. Who initiates the PI process normally, agile team or business?
Well, so when you talk about that PI process, right? PI process is not like, it's a iteration basically, right? Your PI is a iteration. So if your organization decide, like if your stakeholders in the organization, right, decision maker in the organizations decide that, hey, we are going to implement SAFe, then basically there are certain roles that you need to bring in. And typically a PI is coordinated by a release train engineer. So a release train engineer is responsible to make sure that the entire pre-PI planning meeting activities happen. The release train engineer is responsible for coordinating the entire PI planning activity as well as the actual PI, right? So release train engineer is an important role in the organization that need to be in place in order to be successful with the PI planning activity as well as the actual PI.
All right, and then next question, and we get this almost every month, so I know it's a good question. How do you convince leadership to go agile and adopt agile methodology if they are not ready for change?
Well, that's a great question. And as Nick said, we keep getting this question every time. There is a massive resistance sometimes for a change in an organization, and change is not easy, right? And basically, when you are experiencing a need for a change, it really means that there is something wrong in the organization. You're not trying to change because somebody else changed, right? You're trying to change because there is something that's not working, that's actually hurting you, and you want to bring in that change to solve that problem. Now, with that said, when you talk about agile or scaled agile, right, this is not like a small change. This is a massive change that your organization will need to go through, even though you implement this change in steps. But at the end of the day, it requires significant change in the culture of the organization. And in order to do that, you need to form a core group of people who are passionate about that change, right? Who can help you drive the change. And if you look at some of the recommendation under the leadership lesson, what Scaled Agile is saying, when you form that core group of individuals, you need to make sure that the leaders are part of that group, right? So the people are comfortable knowing that their leaders are supportive of that particular change. Also, you want to make sure that the influential people in the organization, whether they are leader or not leader, they are part of that group, because there is going to be a lot of influencing that is going to be required across the organization to make that change happen. And a lot of cases we have seen like individuals reaching out to us. Basically, we highly recommend you working with some of the safe transformation partners, right? Whether it's ATC or any other company, basically. Yeah, we are Scaled Agile transformation partner as well. And what we can do is like we do have experienced agile coach in our team, multiple agile experienced coaches in our team who can actually partner with you and help you influence your leadership team, right? So we can give you material, we can give you tips and tricks for your situation, which you can use to influence your leadership, or in terms of forming that core group that can help bring that change in your organization. So long story short, that change is not like some quick trick, right, that you can implement and make the change happen overnight. It's going to be a long process, at least 6 to 7 months process to bring in that change in your organization. So it's always better to work with somebody that is experienced, and typically the scaled agile transformation partners are ideally capable of doing helping you do that change in the organization. So yeah, if you need any help, please reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to get in touch with you and help you out in bringing that change for your organization.
Can a PI be canceled?
Well, yes, obviously. If you guys don't want to run the PI, if there are issues that are going on, you have two options. One is you refactor, right? Basically, go back, see what needs to be changed, change the timeline of your PI, and start the PI again. Or you can cancel it, you can back off, you can implement some changes in your organization and then start the next PI again. It's similar to sprint, right? PI is just a bigger iteration, but just keep in mind every time you cancel a PI, there is a lot of effort that has been put in place to make that PI happen. And so even the 2-day PI planning meeting, right, where you invite people from all the different locations to attend that particular meeting, there is plenty of cost that is associated with it. So you need to give a very careful consideration before you cancel a PI. And if you have to cancel, basically, then you need to go back and inspect, basically, in terms of what really went wrong, right? To waste so much of money and time for all the people, and fix that issue so that you don't land up in the same issue again.
Excellent. The cost of it all is a great reason to make sure you plan it well before you go down that road. Aid has a question, so I'm going to unmute Aid. Aid, you should be able to talk and ask your question. You probably have to unmute yourself as well.
Okay, my question is about a previous question that was asked about who initiates the PI process. The answer I received was who coordinates. We know that the RTE coordinates the PI process, but who initiates the PI process? Is it like top executives of the organization that will say, okay, we're going to have a PI maybe once every month? So who initiates the PI process?
So your executive leadership team decide to implement SAFe, right? So if you're implementing SAFe, basically they will bring in the roles that are required to implement that particular framework. And one of the roles is release train engineer. So that release train engineer is a person who coordinates the entire PI. So release train engineer is a person who need to work with the teams to plan the PI, and that person is going to be responsible for coordinating the PI as well.
Okay.
So if you look on the SAFe configuration diagram that is there on the scaledagileFramework.com website, you will see one of the role called as release train engineer, or RTE. Yep, that's the person.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
All right, next question. So with Agile coming about as a newer PM methodology, is Azure or TFS preferred over MS Project? And would it be something we recommend to our organization?
Well, I think MS Project is something which I don't know whether or not it will support SAFe, because there is going to be a lot of customization that is going to be required in that. And that tool is not ideally meant for SAFe, right? But there are tools that are available, like target process we are talking about constantly here, right? So there are tools like that that are available that support your particular implementation of scaled agile, and basically it help you. So that tool is exactly aligned in terms of how the SAFe framework works, right? So basically it allows you to do your PI planning, it allows you to create your agile teams in there, plan the activities for those agile teams, plan your PI, plan your iterations within the PI, track the status from start to end. So there are tools that are specifically created for that, and I would recommend using those tools than using anything else. Now when you talk about Azure or TFS, right? Those are more from the development process standpoint in terms of how do you also build your pipeline, etc. Right? CI/CD pipeline, and I think those tools are pretty much, yeah, those are pretty much applicable if you want to if you want to build your CI/CD pipeline into those tools.
Another question is, what is the value of the SPC certification if anyone can get it?
So basically, what I'm trying to understand is like your question is more around, what do a SPC can do, right? Or as a SPC, what are the things that you can do? Now it really depends on what your objective is, right? So let's say, for example, I will tell you what you get after becoming a SPC. So once you get your SPC certification, you are considered as safe program consultant. So basically a person who is qualified to do the transformation for the organization. And so the certification is just going to qualify you, right? But that doesn't mean that you will have all the experience that is required to do a successful transformation. So after you become SPC, we recommend working with some of the organizations or pairing up with some of the experienced SPC and get some experience, right? Working along the side of other SPCs before you do an independent transformation. But as a SPC, you are qualified to do scaled agile trainings. There are certain trainings that you will be qualified to do. And there is a process where you need to still do the enablement, right? So after you become a SPC, you need to give some additional tests that are there and for each course. And after you clear that test, you will be able to teach the course. And you can teach the course in public setting the way you attended a public class with ATC. Or if there is an organization that is requiring a private class, you can also teach the private class. So those are two things you can do, but you can also work on a transformation project as a SPC. So if there is a team team or organization that want to go through safe transformation, you will be qualified to work on the transformation as well, being a coach on that transformation.
Great. Next question. And just as a reminder, you can click the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen to ask your question. If it's a more detailed question or might be a multi-part question, feel free to raise your hand and then I can unmute you. Next question, Parag. Is Jira as good for PI as it is for typical sprint iteration planning?
Yeah, you can do a PI in Jira. It requires some customization. It is possible, but a PI is not something that is defined in Jira, right? You need to customize Jira to implement a PI within Jira.
Okay. Next one is, I use Jira and Confluence at my company. Who has the expertise to help me be a more savvy user of Jira and Confluence?
So the question is like, are you asking like how to become expert in terms of using Jira and Confluence?
That's how it reads. Yeah, I think that's what they're after. Is yes, that's
okay. So in terms of using Jira and Confluence, again, one thing I would recommend, there are tools that are available that have lesser learning curve. But as far as Jira and Confluence is concerned, there are certification courses for Jira and Confluence. Now, we are not doing those certification courses on ATC side, but we can help you build process for your organization and help you understand the process, right? So whatever process we build for your organization, we can teach that process to you as part of implementation. But other than that, Atlassian do have certification courses related to their tools. We are firm believers that your tool should be user friendly and there should be lesser learning curve in the tool. And from ATC standpoint, rather than encouraging any other tool, I mean, we are supportive of tool called as Target Process, which is having much less learning curve. Most of the tool you should be able to use on your own, like 80 to 90% portion of the tool is self-explanatory, right? So you don't need any special training for that. Maybe there are a few 5-10% functionality in the tool that might require some training, but there are tools like that are coming up which are very sophisticated and require less training. But otherwise, like if you prefer to go and get the expertise on some of the tools that are already out there, those companies, they have some certification courses that you can consider taking. Or the other option is just work with us. We can help you customize that tool for your organization, and we can teach you the customization that we did for your organization.
Next question is, once you are a SAFe 5.0 practitioner, is the person ready to perform enterprise organization transformations?
As I said, the certification will qualify you. Doesn't mean that you will have all the experience for doing the transformation. So yeah, it will qualify you if that is what you are trying to ask. But to be successful with the transformation, I think that experience is required, because what certification is going to cover is at a very high level. It will give you understanding of what are the things you need to do the transformation. But it's not the certification training, or the actual certification is not going to give you that experience, right, that is required to do the transformation. So after you get certified, please work with some of the other experienced SPCs, do 1 or 2 transformation alongside with them before you take on individual transformation. But again, it's individual call. If you feel that you are ready, you can take the certification and go for the transformation, you can go for it. I mean, it really depends on individual to individual, how you want to approach that. Certification will definitely qualify you though.
And looks like this might be our last question. Can I configure and tailor SAFe to meet our needs? I think what they're saying is, can I change it, reconfigure it, or is it a one size fits all? Does it have the ability to be configured to the needs of a company?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, lot of people see SAFe as prescriptive, right? People feel like, okay, there is a framework, and I need to follow the framework, right? Either I follow the framework or I don't follow the framework. But to be honest, SAFe is built on lean and agile practices. So if you have attended the class, you must have understood the values that SAFe preach, and the principles, right? So those principles and values are important. Now, if you tweak that particular process, right, or framework to suit the requirement of your company, that's perfectly fine, right? Because that is what is going to work out for your organization. Every company is different, every business is different, and if you need to make some customizations, please feel free to make those customizations, right, that are going to work for your organization. I think as long as you follow those practices, again, practices are something that are based on success stories, right? So if you follow those practices, your chances of being successful are going to go high, because those are based on past experiences.
Great.
So there is no hard and fast rule that either you follow the framework or you don't follow the framework, right? It's not like that. You can decide what you want to implement in your organization. It's completely up to you.
Great. Well, we're at the top of the hour. That was the last question, so it kind of fit perfectly with our timing here. We appreciate everybody attending. We hope that we've answered your questions. Again, if you do have other questions or need some help and guidance with resources or with our premium support, in the chat window, you'll see the email address for Dan. It's Dan, Dan@american-technology.net, just in case you don't see it. And if you need any help with anything else along the way of technology and the other things that we do, please take a look at our website, which is also american-technology.net. And we will do our best to get back to you, follow up with you, and help you with your technology needs. Again, we appreciate it. Look forward to next month. Please share if you've had a good experience with ATC. We always, of course, would ask that you share it with your friends. One of the things that we try to do are these types of things, to be here after the training to help answer these questions that we know come up and know happen within people's minds as they start to kind of get back to work and try to put it into practice. So again, we thank you very much for your questions, for your attendance, and for being an ATC customer on our training side. So with that, we will go ahead and end this, and we wish you all the best and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Good luck. Bye.